I'm telling you right now, call and close that credit card and ask them if they offer a payment assistance program or a hardship assistance program. I just did that with my second card. I did that with the Lowe's credit card the other day. I'm carrying a balance of about $2,600 on that. I was able to qualify for the hardship assistance program based on reduced income for both of these cards. It took my interest rate down to 0%, spread out across 60 months, and it cut my minimum payment from $87 down to $46 a month, set up on auto pay. That is not my Focus credit card right now, so that is going to help me tremendously monthly. I just did that with my Amazon store card that I had. I have no business with an Amazon store card, so I called a few minutes ago. I had it closed, and I inquired about a hardship program. I qualified for that one as well based on reduced income. You talk to the person, answer a couple of questions. They're super simple. Again, 0% APR, not really based on a certain number of months. Cut my minimum payment from $61 to $31 a month, set up on auto pay. So just by closing 2 accounts, I eliminated the interest on those cards, so I'll actually be knocking off money from the balance with every minimum payment that I make. Will allow me to put that extra money that I was spending on those high interest cards towards my lowest balance of $478. Be able to knock it out quicker. So this is your sign. Call and close that credit card and ask about a hardship program. I could not be happier with doing that with those 2 cards.
You ever notice how the second someone gets a raise, they're suddenly living like you're rich? It's like more money, more spending. But the truth is, if your spending increases with your income, you're not actually getting ahead. In this video, you'll hear simple but powerful advice on what to do instead. Things like building your emergency fund and assigning your money a job. Let me know if this mindset shift is something you already do or if it's something you're ready to try.
Currently drowning in $60,000 worth of debt. I decided to create this secret account to hide from my friends and family who have no idea how bad my financial situation is. My husband works 72 plus hours a week. By the time bills and minimum payments for our credit cards are paid for, there is chump change left for groceries and gas. I'm at my wit's end because I don't know what else to do. We don't even have extra $10-15 to throw towards debt at this point. And I see that this trend is working for a lot of people. They're trying to pay off their husband's trucks. I'm really just trying to get in a better financial situation because my worst fear is that my husband can't go to work or something happens and we lose everything. We have no savings, we have nothing to fall back on. So please help me out, engage from the bottom up, hit all the buttons, tell me how much debt you are in. You are not alone. Let's help each other out. There is enough to go around on this app.
So let's talk about my credit card debt so you feel better about your finances. I am currently, as of this morning, have $55,399 of credit card debt. And that is across 7 different credit cards. So let's go through each of them. This one right here, this is actually a balance transfer from Citi Cards, and this currently has $2,070 on it. It'll be the first one I actually pay off because this zero balance actually ends in June of this year. So that will be a priority as of right now. So number 2 is actually a care credit through Symphony Bank, and this currently has $6,439 on it. Now, we got this one last August when our dog had to get surgery to remove underwear from her stomach. So that was a really big blow on our credit payoff journey because it added about $9,000 to our credit card debt. Number 3 here is another Citi card, and this one has $13,754 on it. So the next 2 I have actually really hurt, and this is where the majority of our debt is. So the next one I have is Williams-Sonoma, and this one has $17,863 on it. And the last one that I have here is Wells Fargo, and this is my oldest credit card, and I have had this since I was 19 years old, and I'm turning 38 on Saturday. So you can do the math of how long I've had this one. And it also has the lowest interest rate of about 12%, which is amazing for a credit card. But this one is essentially maxed out at $24,999. And we had made some really big progress on this one, but Unfortunately, we had some bills that came up over the holidays that we didn't want to take away from our boys' experience that we had already prepared. So we put it on here, and then the interest came through, and this is where we're at now. So this one will probably add a little bit extra to over the next couple months, so it's just not at 100%. Number 6 here is actually a Wells Fargo home loan, and we got this also last August whenever we had to replace our entire AC unit and furnace unit in our house. So that was around $16,000, and this is how much we have left. We have $12,537 left of this loan. And my last one here is Pottery Barn, and this one is actually 100% paid off. I'm actually pretty proud of this because this was fully maxed out maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and we've been working really hard on getting this one paid off. So as of 2 years ago, all of the credit cards that I just went through, except for 2 of them, the 2 that I got in August last year, were 100% maxed out. We have made a lot of progress in our debt payoff journey, but we still have a lot more work to do, and I want to bring y'all along with me. Hit the follow button, follow along with us as we get this going, because one day we will be debt free, and I would love to take y'all along on this journey.
Y'all please stop aggressively paying off debt, especially if you ain't got no money saved up. All you're going to do is continue the cycle of paying off debt, and then something comes up, you use the debt that you just paid off to pay off to something that just came up. I'm telling you this from experience. I'm telling you this from my personal experience. I'm telling you from the experience that I've had with clients that I've worked with. It's never a matter of if something happens. It's always when it happens, because something always comes up. You got a $3,500 debt. You done paid $1,500 of it off, but then here comes something that costs $800 and you ain't got it just laying around for an immediate issue. So now you got to go dip into that $1,500 you just paid off, get $800 of that. Now you almost back to square one. So instead, build your financial foundation on an immediate fund. Have you a small savings of $1,500 minimum, $2,500 max. So when those immediate issues come about, you got the immediate funds to pull from to take care of those, and you don't have to keep interfering with your debt payoff process. So in short, man, aggressively build you up a savings first, a solid financial foundation. Take care of that first, and then let's go and, make more than just the minimum monthly payment on your debts, and then pay those off, and then kind of just snowball that into the other debts. It'll be so much easier, faster, and less frustrating because you ain't gonna have to keep starting over every time something come up.
So this is not my proudest moment, but my credit card is the worst it's ever been. And I'm a college student. I have a credit card limit of $4,000, and I currently owe roughly $3,000 to my credit card. It's never gotten this bad. But I've just been carelessly spending my money, not paying attention to anything, not budgeting. And it's gotten to the point where I'm like, I need to get my shit together. Like, I took a look at my spending summary. In 1 month, in the span of 1 month, I spent $1,900 on my credit card. I don't even make that much in a month. I make like roughly $1,700 a month, something like that. And this is not even counting rent. Like, I pay rent with my checkings account, and then this is all from my credit card. Like, it's really bad. When I tell you, I should not even be spending half of this amount in the month with how much I make. So I've decided I'm finally gonna get my shit together. I'm gonna start hardcore budgeting this week, like as of today. And I do wanna keep you guys posted here on TikTok, because I feel like if I keep myself accountable, I am more likely to stick to it, because my spending issues have gotten way too out of hand. I need to fix this before it gets into a huge mess and my credit score gets fucked up.
I had a $10,000 credit card debt, and now I'm paying off my credit card. Let me tell you how I did it. Long story short, I spent money like an idiot. When I graduated high school, I opened a credit card just to buy a MacBook Pro for college. The credit card limit started at $1,700. I paid it off within 2 years or less. I was a college student, okay? Fast forward to my early 20s, I want to go on a trip with my boyfriend, still my boyfriend, and I decided to increase my credit limit because I had just moved into an apartment and I wanted to go on this trip with my boyfriend. It was my first family trip, and yada yada. Increased credit limit $3,000. After doubling my credit limit, I decided to max out my credit card. I did that, and then this continued. Like, every time I would keep spending, they would keep increasing the limit, and yeah, because I was making a minimum payment, the limit just kept going up and up and up. So guess what I did? Spend. Because I didn't understand that I shouldn't be spending money that I don't have. No, baby. Fast forward to 2020, I'm still living in my apartment and I get laid off because of COVID. Unemployment only took me so far and I still had to make the rent. So I maybe put 1 or 2 months rent on the credit card. My balance is around $7,000 and I decided to go back to school. Was not granted any financial aid, and I don't think I qualified for any scholarships. At least the ones I applied for, I never got. Okay, so I was paying for school on my own. So some costs went on the credit card, like books and not tuition, but like books, you know? I'm a year into my degree and the balance is like $10,000 at this point, and the minimum payment is something I cannot make. My school payment was more important to me than paying off a credit card. I couldn't afford the minimum payment, so ultimately I just stopped paying. Yeah. So I went to the bank and I said, yo, I cannot do this. I'm not bankrupt, but I can't spend $900 a month for X amount of months just to pay off this debt. Like, what can we do? And she's like, well, we can close your card, and what can you pay? And I said, okay, well, I could probably pay like $300 a month. And she goes, okay, $300 a month for this much more months and you'll be paid off. Card is closed. I said, okay, that sounds really good to be true. It was true, bitch, it was. So now, fast forward, I'm paying my credit card off a year and a half early because I aggressively started to pay it down. I would make 2 payments a month, and the second payment was always double, if not triple, the amount the first payment of the month was. I understand that I was very fortunate to have been able to do that, and when I got my tax return, I was fortunate enough to be able to put all of it towards my credit card, which took a huge chunk off of it this year, this past year, like this past month. Now I only have $960 left on the card, and I have a minimum payment due in 2 days. But my minimum payment for me that I'm going to put down is $960. No, I didn't give a lot of tips, but I just want people that were in my shoes to know that it is okay. There are resources like going to your bank. Just make sure that they don't consolidate your bills or anything like that, unless you need to. I fully believe in bill consolidation, but I was not in a position that I needed to consolidate. My last tip of advice is do not take this stuff lightly. Your credit matters. Don't pay just because you don't want to or because you can't. Go to the bank, see what they can do. Your debt doesn't define you.
Someone who recently paid off $20,000 of credit card debt. Yes, you heard me correctly, $20,000 of credit card debt. And I recently paid off my car, so here are all of the lifestyle changes that I've done and all the things that I've stopped spending money on to help me achieve that goal. Number 1 is I stopped spending my money on alcohol. You really don't realize how much alcohol adds up until you get your bill at the end of the night and your alcohol bill is the same, if not more, than your food bill. I don't really go out to nice restaurants, but whenever I go out to eat, or if it's a nicer restaurant, I always have a 1 drink rule. I always have 1 social drink just to have a social drink with my girls, so I'm not the only one that's not drinking at the table. And I just drink it very slowly, and I make sure to enjoy it because there's no need for me to be guzzling down alcohol and ordering multiple drinks. It is extremely rare that I'm ordering more than 1 drink unless it is a big celebration or someone's birthday, or if I'm at a friend's house or my own house and we have bottles of wine. It is a much more affordable way to drink. And this is specifically for restaurants that charge you $15+ for 1 singular drink. So if I go out with my girlfriends and it's a cheaper bar and it's like less than $10 for a drink, I'll definitely order like 2 or 3. But at restaurants, it is the biggest waste of money. Number 2 is I don't spend money on food delivery services like Grubhub, Uber Eats, or DoorDash. I just don't believe in them. Like one time I did DoorDash and it was $35 for a Chipotle bowl, and I don't know, it just really rubbed me the wrong way that the delivery fee was more than my actual bowl itself. And I truly believe that if I want to eat out that badly or get fast food that badly, I can get myself in my car, go drive it, and pick it up myself. And that's not to say that I don't eat fast food ever, because I get Chipotle all the time. It's my favorite, but I just feel that if I want it that bad, I need to stop being so lazy, get my ass in my car, and go drive to get it myself. Same goes with Starbucks, but I rarely ever get coffee out. I am a Latin woman. As white as I look, I am a Latin woman, and I need to have a very strong coffee in the morning. I don't drink anything other than like a cafe con leche or any kind of like Cuban coffee. So Starbucks, Dunkin', it just doesn't do it for me. One thing that really changed the coffee game for me was buying an Espresso Virtuo Next machine. It makes the best Italian coffee. It's very strong, it's very flavorful, very rich. Definitely worth it. Number 3 on the list is that I stopped buying new technology, especially for things that I already have. Like I already have the original AirPods. I don't need any new ones. When I got my first big girl corporate job out of college, I signed up for the iPhone upgrade program, and now looking back, it is the biggest waste of money. So essentially you would get a new iPhone every year, but you were just leasing the phone. So in addition to your phone plan bill, like you would be paying for the phone, but it would never fully be paid off because you would just pay monthly, send it back the next year when the contract was up, and then you get the newer iPhone and then you keep on paying for that. Last November, I got that phone stolen in downtown Orlando and I was still leasing it out. So I ended up having to buy out the phone and then purchase a brand new phone in addition to that. Bought myself the iPhone 14 and that is going to be my phone until the day it crashes. I promise you, your phone is just fine. Your gadgets are just fine. There's nothing extremely revolutionary about the next new gadget that you don't already have. Before, I really don't buy clothing that often. I used to buy a lot of trendy clothing pieces and now they're just sitting in my closet. I had to give them away, give them to Plato's Closet, give them to Goodwill because I just stopped wearing them. I started slowly building a capsule wardrobe instead with more basic pieces that I could mix and match throughout the seasons. And for me, I live in Florida, so it's hot the majority of the year, so buying short sleeve pieces, shorts, jeans, things like that I would wear all year round is much more beneficial for me rather than buying the pieces that I'm seeing on my feed on Instagram all the time. And a lot of the times, those trendy pieces are very low quality or they're from Shein, fast fashion sites, so they're just not gonna last you anyway. So even though they're cheap now, you're gonna be spending more later when those pieces break and you have to buy a new one. Number 5, I stopped spending so much money on brand new skincare and makeup, which I know is crazy because I'm primarily a makeup and skincare influencer, and I used to be the kind of person that would go buy the newest skincare, the newest makeup. If I saw it was trendy, I used to go buy it. Now I have a very strict rule for myself. I'm not allowed to open a new bottle of makeup or skincare until the one that I'm currently using is finished. And that goes for PR products as well. For example, I already am using a hypochlorous acid spray and I just received 2 new ones in the mail as PR gifts, which I am very grateful for, but I will not open them until my current one is finished, no matter how badly I want to try it and show you guys how it works. Number 6 on my list is overly hyped trendy supplements, especially those greens. I used to buy those Bloom Nutrition greens all the time and they're so expensive. Do they really work? Questionable. Literally just eat your vegetables, get a generic magnesium supplement, get your generic multivitamin. That is all you need. You don't need these trendy influencer sponsored greens. I don't know. I feel like any kind of supplement or any kind of health product that's overly done, overly sponsored by influencers is not that great. You really have to stop and think to yourself, am I buying this because I need it or am I buying it because everyone else has it? I feel like we're going through the whole fit tea epidemic that happened in 2014 with influencers promoting that and going through eating disorders all over again with these green supplements. They're just not worth it.
This is your sign to stop ignoring your debt because that's what I've been doing for the past 2 years. I owe $20,684.60. I think it's time to just tackle it. I made this profile specifically for my debt journey. If you guys are on your debt journey, follow along so we can motivate each other. I'm not asking anything from you guys other than to support me in this journey, and then I'm also doing this to keep myself accountable to make sure I actually do it. I'm gonna try to post every day, if not every other day, and we'll see what happens. Talk to you soon.
I fear I've done something impulsive and I need to tell you because you're my accountability buddy, and also because I'm paying off $17,000 of credit card debt and we have to be held accountable for the decisions that we make with our money until that debt is paid off. One of the things that got me into all of this debt in the first place was booking a bunch of mini trips while I lived on the West Coast. There was so much of the West Coast that I wanted to see with my husband, and we did as much as we could. And most of the time we use our vacation to see our family up north, so it's not often that we have days off work that isn't utilized to go see our family. For the 4th of July weekend, we had originally just planned to do a day trip to the beach, but I convinced Austin to do an impulsive thing with me and book a hotel room overnight so that we can go to the beach like first thing in the morning instead of having to drive 2.5 hours from where we live to get to the beach and potentially deal with having to find parking and everybody going to the beach because it's 4th of July weekend. And surprisingly, I was able to convince Austin. He's been really good with setting guardrails for me when it comes to my impulsive spendings. He's definitely one of my support systems when it comes to keeping in alignment with my goals. It's just an overnight trip. We'll be back soon, so we don't anticipate spending a lot of money. I'm almost looking at it as a little reward because this weekend I'll be able to make an extra payment towards my credit card debt that will officially bring me under $17,000. We'll be in the 16,000s. But just wanted to share that because we're accountability buddies here, and I'm not just gonna hide these things from you guys because we were practically hermits all of winter and the first half of the year, so it'll be good for us to get out and just see new places. Hope you have a fun and safe weekend. Take care. Bye.
I did my May expenses because I got paid today, and I realized that I have officially hit $30,000 in credit card debt, and that is insane and unacceptable. And so I did a deep dive to find out how I actually got worse and worse into debt when this is something I've been focusing on for 6 months. Before you come for me, this comes from a completely separate bank account. I had no idea. Like, I would tell myself, okay, I'm not going to spend, and then very easily fall back into a poor spending habit. Whatever I want, I buy it. I also make money on TikTok Shop, and so I was rationalizing in my head every time I wanted something on TikTok Shop that I could sell it on here. I make about $1,000 a month on TikTok Shop, and I'm spending about $1,000 a month on TikTok Shop, which is insane. I also buy from boutiques, and I drop $100 here and there and here and there without thought. June is going to be a no spend month for me, and I'm really excited to see how hard it is, but I really want to do this.
But I have been financially not doing great. I am a nurse. Even though I am a nurse and I make good money, I don't have money, which is the sad part because of the choices that I've made still currently and the choices that I've made like previously, like from a couple of years. I am in credit card debt, and it's this unhealthy cycle that I have been putting myself into, and this just relationship with money has just never been something that I was talked about. Lifestyle creep is definitely a thing, and especially when you are trying to make a brand for yourself, when you're aspiring to do something that you want to do, and content creation has been something that I've always wanted to do. Being a YouTuber has always been something I want to do. I've always just wanted to be on camera. I've always just wanted to make a name for myself, whether it be like through content creation, being a YouTuber, being an entrepreneur, like whatever it may be. I always felt like I was meant to do something other than nursing. And so I think for years I have been continuously like, you know, going with the trends and like, you know, buying whatever everyone else buys so that like I can post about it and like, you know, be seen. But then I get caught up with imposter syndrome of not being enough. In order for me to become someone, I guess I was influenced by everyone else around me. So if I bought the next best thing, or if I like looked a certain way by buying these clothes, then I was gonna make an image, a brand for myself. And that turned into like so many like dumb purchases like along the way that I'm like literally paying for now. And don't get me wrong, I have been trying to get myself together when it comes to my finances, because obviously like I have money to pay my bills, I have money to like pay down the minimums on my credit cards, but a lot of the times I don't take into account like, money like for myself and money to, you know, just enjoy life. And most of the time like I'm struggling to even do that. So I think I've reached my breaking point. Enough is enough. Like living paycheck to paycheck, living with like the credit card debt and like the afterpays and everything, like I'm done. Like I'm so done. I want to be financially free. Like I don't want to have to worry about like, you know, if I'm gonna be able to eat. I just don't want to be in this cycle anymore, because it's like I want to travel, I want to buy a house, I want to get married, like all of these things. Like it's just like it's not possible until I take this step of paying off my debt. And not just paying off my debt, but like being financially literate and just understanding you can't always have your wants. You have to prioritize like your needs. And sometimes like I rationalize like my needs, my wants, to make them seem like they're needs. And I just need to get out of this toxic like mindset. Like it sucks. And I'm not making this an excuse, but I guess like impulsivity and like shopping addiction is part of ADHD. And sometimes I hate it. Like sometimes I like get mad at myself for having this ADHD and is the reason why I'm in this situation. But at the same time, it's like I need to remember, what can I do now to just like get myself out of this hole. So the reason I'm crying on the internet is to show people that, like, seriously, like, do not, like, I understand that, you know, I'm trying to be an influencer, I'm trying to be a content creator, and that goes with like promoting products, but like literally live within your means and only buy like if you have the money for it. Stop Klarnaing, stop affirming, stop afterpaying, like stop just swiping the credit card, because like, yeah, it may be fun like in the moment, but literally you will regret it if that stuff like just racks up and it's like years down the line and you're still paying for that purse that you bought like 4 years ago. Life is too freaking short for us to be paying money on stuff that we bought like a couple years ago. Life is too short for us to be paying for materialistic things. Instead, we should be paying for experiences, for like adventures and whatever it may be, like for new life like chapters. And I don't know, buying the next best thing is not worth your mental health. Buying the next best thing is not worth the emotional and financial burden that you're going to experience if you can't pay it off right away. If you're watching this and you are also in the same boat, like, you are not alone. This stuff is hard to navigate, and not a lot of people like talk about the realness about being in credit card debt or like even student loans. Like, I don't even want to think about like the student loans that I have and like my car loan. Like, that's another thing in itself. But if you're watching this all the way through, the one thing that I can say is that if you're going into 2025 with debt, specifically credit card debt, please make a plan to like get out of it, because I know I am, because I can't do it anymore. It's not cute anymore to just put it on the credit card or like I'll do some installment payments. It's not cute anymore. You're gonna continue these habits, and it's gonna take you so much longer to, one, pay for it, but two, unlearn those habits of impulse spending.
How did I get myself into $10,000 of credit card debt before the age of 25? Let me tell you, this is a cautionary tale. When I graduated college, I had no credit card debt. None. Literally not a penny. So I did not know how soul-crushing credit card debt could be. So after I graduated, I took a job, my first big girl job, moved to Ohio. We don't talk about that. Ohio's where I learned about credit cards. I took a pretty good paying job for being just out of school in the industry that I was in. I think I was making like $35 an hour, which was like really good, I thought, for being 22 and being in the apparel industry. I thought I was wealthy. I was spending money like I was wealthy. I had a clean slate, no credit card debt. I could have built myself a very solid financial foundation. I could have started saving. I didn't have a savings either, by the way. I had no debt, but I also had no money. I could have built myself a solid foundation, and I could have made some smart financial decisions. But I did whatever the opposite of that is. Paid for the nicest apartment that I could afford in Ohio, which was pretty nice because it's Ohio. Paying for like weekly workout classes. I did boxing like 4 times a week. Do you know how expensive that is? I had no business doing that. Should have been at Planet Fitness. I was just shopping, buying whatever clothes I wanted, buying whatever I wanted because I was wealthy. And this is where things take a turn. My friend says, let's go to Europe. She says, let's go to Europe. And I say, okay, where, when? I'm in. Again, I didn't have money. I did not have the money to go to Europe. But what I did have was a Delta credit card. I had a Delta credit card that I had applied for because I knew I was going to get the Delta Sky Miles to go with it. So I bought a ticket to Ireland. I think it cost me $500 after the whole Delta Sky Miles thing, which honestly, it was a steal. I was like, great, I can totally afford this. A few days before our trip to Ireland, my friend texts me her ticket and she's like, this is what time I get in. What time do you land in Dublin? And I look at my ticket and I'm like, that's not the day that I get in. I had bought a ticket for the wrong day. If you know me, it's not shocking, unfortunately. But she's like, it's cool, I'll just hang out in Dublin until you get there. And I'm like, hell no, like, you're not staying at this hostel in Dublin by yourself for 3 days, and not on my watch, not while I have a credit card. So I put an entire new flight on my Delta credit card, and this is where things take a turn for the worse, ladies and gentlemen.
I put a $1,200 flight to Dublin on my Delta credit card. Canceled my other flight, no refund. Canceled it, no refund. So at this point I had close to $2,000 on my credit card just getting to Dublin, okay? But I'm like, money comes back, memories don't. Get to Europe. My credit card is coming out every 2 seconds. Ding, 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 ding. I didn't care because I was like, I have a good job and I'm gonna pay all this off and money comes back and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I honestly don't even know how much I spent because I didn't keep track of it. I did not even look at my credit card till I got home. I didn't look at my bank account. I just ding, 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 ding. And then I actually ended up moving to LA. I took a job which was a 50% pay cut. So I was making $18 an hour living in LA. But I knew I had to make that sacrifice for myself because it was a good brand and I needed that on my resume. I needed my foot in the door in the fashion industry in LA because Ohio was not cutting it for me. I needed to be in the action. I wanted to be in fashion. I wanted to design. Like, I was just so passionate about being in the fashion industry. I didn't care. I would have done it for free, honestly. I would have done it for free. But I was living in LA making $18 an hour. I didn't have a savings because I saved nothing from my time in Ohio. So I proceeded to open a few more credit cards. I learned about the Amazon credit card and I furnished a lot of my new apartment with my Amazon credit card. Yeah. I was putting bills. I'm like, don't put your bills on your credit card. Like, don't do that. My friend's like, you want to go to Disneyland? I'm like, yeah, let's go to Disneyland. Money comes back. Also, other huge thing, when I first moved to LA, the day I got there, my apartment fell through. I hadn't signed the lease yet, but like I was just waiting to hear back and like just hoping and praying because my job started on like Monday. And I got there and they were like, nope. I did not know what to do. I didn't know a single person there. I had nowhere to stay, nothing. I had to put all my stuff from my U-Haul in a storage unit and live in a hotel. I lived in a hotel for a month while I was trying to find an apartment because it is so hard. So I finally found one, but I couldn't move in for another month, so I was literally living in this hotel. And guess who paid for that hotel? Delta Amex, baby. Yeah, I put an entire month of a hotel stay on my credit card. So at this point, I'm in like $10,000 credit card debt. I was 23. Had to start working my ass off because all of a sudden I was hitting my limits on my credit cards, and I was like, oh shit. And I was applying for new ones and not getting approved because you know what I did when I left Ohio? I broke my lease, which was not allowed. No subletting, not allowed. Don't break your lease or you're gonna pay for it, and I did. They sent the rest of my rent to collections, which by the way is still there because honestly, collections sounds like it's not my problem anymore. Sounds like my debt was bought by somebody else. But it screwed over my credit score though. Couldn't get any more credit cards. I was screwed. So I had to deal with the credit cards that I had and the max amounts that I had at the time. So what did I do? I got some part-time jobs. I was a golf coach for little children on the weekends. I'm not a good golfer. I started driving for Uber. That was interesting. With gas being like $6 a gallon in LA, I made like negative money doing that. All this to say, I worked my ass off in LA to try to get myself like above water, which I really didn't at all. So when the job offer came in Philly, which is where I live now, I took it so quickly, jumped on that shit, moved out to Philly, and have been working my ass off ever since to get myself out of credit card debt and build a savings and a life for myself. Started posting on TikTok. I have paid off $3,000 or $4,000 from TikTok, actually, of my credit card debt, which is the entire amount of what I've earned from this app in the past like 3 or 4 years. So it's not nearly as much as other creators are making, but I also don't do it full time and I don't really try that hard. So super grateful that I was able to do that though. I also won a jackpot at a casino. Wouldn't recommend. I'm not telling you to go to the casino, but I did, and I won $1,600. I'm just saying. And what did I do with that? I paid off a credit card immediately. And that's what sucks about being in credit card debt is every like cent that I get that's not necessary for like my bills and my rent goes towards credit cards. Like I could have had $1,600 to go on a trip or do something fun or actually like buy something for myself or put it in savings. Everything I make has to go to my credit card debt. But anyway, I'm on a track to pay off all of it by next month, which I'm so excited about. And this is a cautionary tale. I had so much fun in my early 20s, but I regret
So many of those decisions. So if you are considering using your credit cards in the reckless way that I did, I beg of you to not. Just don't. Interest is insane. My credit card payments have been like $400 a month for like 3 years. It'll make your life hell. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. So be smarter than me, but still have fun and still go to Europe. Okay, bye.
How do some of y'all have $27,000 in credit card debt? I just want to know.
Years ago, I was in $60,000 of credit card debt, so I'll tell you exactly how that happened because I also never thought that I would get there, and it really does happen kind of fast. So the number one factor for me was the fact that I had so much anxiety and shame around money that I would actively avoid my finances. Like, I couldn't even look at my bank account, let alone sit down and make a budget. So all this in money advice and how to get yourself out of debt and whatever was kind of irrelevant to me because if I couldn't even get myself to the computer to like open my bank account, I couldn't do the rest of it. And because I didn't have a budget and was avoiding my finances, it was really easy for me to not know how much I was spending month to month on like subscriptions and various expenses that you accumulate over time. Plus, this was like the worst mental health period of my life. So my ADHD was rearing its ugly head and I was impulse spending. I also just had a very nihilistic attitude of like, it doesn't even matter, whatever, I'll just deal with it later. But the thing that you don't realize when you first start getting into credit card debt is how quickly the interest compounds over time. And this is how you can go from having like $8,000 in credit card debt to $27,000 or $60,000 or whatever it is, because all of your cash is now going to two things. It's going to rent, maybe a few different utilities payments that you can't put on a credit card. It's going to your minimums, right? And your minimums on your credit cards are growing every single month, even if you don't put a single new charge on that credit card. So when all of your cash is going to your credit card minimums or even paying off a little bit more than your minimums to try to like get ahead, you're still having to put a lot of your purchases on credit cards because you're out of cash. So that combined with the money avoidance to me was this perfect storm of like, I just didn't know how quickly debt would accumulate once it started. Like once the ball started rolling, it gets away from you really fast. So the question is not how does someone end up with that much debt? The question is like, what are the patterns that got you into debt in the first place and that are keeping you from dealing with the debt? Because those are going to be the same patterns that turn this into like a wildfire that spreads really quickly. I actually have a step-by-step process for dealing with your money anxiety and your fear of looking at your bank accounts if that's something you resonate with. So comment below and I will send it to you.